Hey guys, I'm Mickey Guerra and I'm here with Riley Watkins. He's a local fitness coach, and not only is he building his own business, but he's changing lives in the process. Riley, how you doing today?
Doing good, bro.
Awesome.
Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. All right, if you just want to get us started, kind of just like telling us what you do, and then basically just like kind of explaining your business and how it goes.
Yeah, so I'm an online fitness coach, certified personal trainer, and pretty much what I do is through social media, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. I basically, find people to help lose weight. So my main program that I run it's for men, help men lose 30 to 50 pounds in 6 months. And if they, don't get the results in the 6 months, I coach them for free until they do. And, this year we've had, I think, 60 people come through. So had a ton of transformations. If you go look at my page, you'll see all of them. People getting in there, losing weight, getting in shape, getting healthy, man.
Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome. 60 people is insane. I mean, you think about it from a sales standpoint. If you're going door to door, if you go to 10 doors, you might get one person to answer. And if you go to 100 doors, you might get, maybe 9 or 10 to say yes. So, I mean, getting 60 people, is absolutely insane. That is an insane accomplishment. So, I guess, like, my next question would kind of be like, what is your story? I know you fitness has kind of been something that, it's been in your life. You grew up playing football, kind of just like explain like how big of a role fitness has been in your life, and then just like kind of how you got here.
Yeah, it's been huge, all right? So I was born down in Morgantown, in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I moved down to Wheeling, West Virginia when I was in 3rd grade. And I got homeschooled in 3rd grade, and I remember when I first moved here, I wanted to play flag football. And my mom was like, all right, we'll play flag football. So I went out, and we had practice, and it's like how I got into fitness. And I wanted to play running back, because I remember I was like watching people online. I remember it was Anquan Bolden from the 49ers was who I was watching. I was like, I want to be like that guy. And I remember she took me out of practice, had first practice, and they put me at center. And I was really pissed because, obviously I'd been playing video games. I was homeschooled. I wasn't doing too much. I wasn't like the biggest athlete ever. I was never like, an elite athlete. I was in 3rd grade. So they put me at center, and I was mad. And I remember that I went home that night, and I was like crying to my mom. I was like, I don't want to play center. Like, because they didn't put me at center because I was, a great center. It was because I was a fat kid, right? And they put me there, and I remember my mom was like, well, you can cry about it. You can be sad that you got put at center, or you can do something about it. And what she did was she gave me her Shaun T. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Shaun T, P90X, that crowd. She gave me her Shaun T, CDs and said, get to work, right? Lose weight, get in shape, and if you want to be a running back, stop sitting here crying about it, go do something about it. And next morning at 5 a.m., worked out for the first time, and every day since that day, I've worked out pretty much, without missing more than 7 days in a week. I've pretty much worked out since then, and I went from, Shaun T workouts, and then, I became really good. I got to play running back the next year of flag football, and then, transitioned into me finding a strength coach, and I worked with a strength coach for 12 years. So I had a coach for 12 years and went on to, be pretty good in high school, went and played at Division I Mercyhurst University, and then I started coaching people myself, and kind of led us here today. So it's been absolutely huge, and, getting into fitness has been a huge part of my life, and, it's why I chose it as the career for what I want to do, because the impact it can make I've seen it firsthand.
I will say Riley is the definition of hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. I remember actually the first time I ever met Riley was at the OVAC track meet. We were both running shuttles. And could you imagine me, a little scrawny kid? It is cold as heck outside. I look over and I see this muscular guy, and so we get lined up, and I'm like, okay, he's a little bit heavier. I'm gonna smoke this guy. Gun goes off. Dude, this guy is taking off. He absolutely smokes me, and I'm like, goodness gracious. So Riley works so hard. You see, yeah, for sure. You see it on his social medias. He really practices what he preaches. All right, so Riley, you kind of talked about your journey, and you played football, your whole life through high school, and then you played Division I. When did you feel that coaching was kind of your calling, and when did you go ahead and decide to take coaching seriously and kind of pursue a career in it?
Yeah, so when it comes to actually helping people, get in shape, and when it comes to like fitness, helping people in the weight room was actually something that I started doing in high school. So when I worked with a strength coach, right, I worked with a strength coach from 5th grade all the way up until when I was done playing football at the collegiate level. And the strength coach that I worked with, I don't know if anyone heard Josh Piles Elite, Josh pretty much taught me a lot of stuff. So when I was in high school, my sophomore year we had kind of a workout program at Wheeling Central, where I went to high school, but we really didn't have a coach. And pretty much from what I had learned working with, a Division I, like one of the best strength coaches, in my opinion, in the entire world, speed development coaches, I basically told my head coach, I was like, hey, why don't you just let me run workouts? And I started putting workouts together, and I basically became our team strength coach from sophomore year to senior year. I ended up getting our weight room revamped. I ended up getting helping put a weight room together, and I became our team strength coach. So sophomore year, I was basically running a 40, 50 person weight room for 3 years, and then eventually when I was going to get ready for college, I started basically posting, hey, I'll if anybody wants help working out with athletics, right? It was more from an athlete standpoint, because that's what I was. And I started posting, saying, hey, does anybody maybe want help with whatever? And I worked with a couple people, and then when I went to college was really the first time that I had a couple people actually sign up for like my own business. And then from there, after football, I decided I want to come back, try to do this coaching thing, but I was coming from it from an athletics perspective. And when I came back, I actually ended up putting on a little bit of weight, 60 pounds. And eventually, I was like, well, I need to lose weight now. I need to get in shape. Like, I want to be, a representation of what I want to represent as a business owner, as a coach, and what I want my clients to see. And I got in an amazing shape. And I remember one of my friends, Trey, hit me up and said, dude, I saw that you lost a bunch of weight. Like, will you help me? And I was like, okay. And I helped Trey lose 42 pounds in 4 months. And then from there, I posted Trey's transformation. And that's really, really clicked for me when Trey texted me after I helped him lose a bunch of weight. He said, Riley, like you changed my life, dude. Like, my confidence is back. Like, I feel amazing. And then when that happened, that's when I really decided that I wanted to help men lose weight because of my own experience losing weight, Trey's experience losing weight, and then after having a couple more clients, seeing the impact I can make with men as fathers, as business owners, as people in their community. That's kind of when I decided that I wanted to pursue men's weight loss and help people really like take control of their health and their life.
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, that kind of goes with what I was saying earlier about like how hard of a worker Riley really is. I mean, people will notice whenever you're working hard and whenever you finally start to succeed. I mean, it's cringy at first, right, until you start winning, and then people will laugh at you at first, and then they'll ask you for advice. And
Yep.
I'm not saying Trey was laughing at you, but like I'm saying, people will notice whenever you're making big changes in your life, and you start succeeding, and then it's really cool your friend reached out to you. I mean, I think that's awesome. So I mean, kind of just like how did building your business kind of come to?
Yeah, so a lot of it stems from, I think, me just trying to lead, from a genuine place. I think everyone that knows me my whole life, I've always been a really, really big gym guy. I've always been a really, really big strength and conditioning guy, a good athlete, and obviously I'm not a huge person, right? I'm pretty muscular, but I'm 5'6", a white dude, I'm not super athletic. A lot of my success in sports came from, me being in the weight room, me really putting in the work outside of my own talent to be the best I could be. And everyone that knows me knows how hard that I worked as an athlete. And I think everyone knew if they're going to sign up with me, they're going to get that. I think my brand as just a person was good because people would look at me and they associate me with that hard work, that discipline. They know as a coach, I'm not somebody who's going to half-ass anything. And I think after having a couple clients be successful, they see my transformation, which was actually a blessing in disguise to put on weight, because then I could be my own transformation, my own story. Having somebody like Trey had a great transformation, me and then Trey, and then having other people see that, leading with trust, leading with, hey, like I want to actually help people. I don't want to, I'm like, obviously it's a business, right? You're in it you start a business, like you have to charge, right? You have to make money. That's the point of a business, right? But I think when you actually can lead from a place of genuinely wanting to serve people and help people and do things like I do with my business, have that guarantee in place for people to just make it as easy as possible for someone to trust you with their money, with their time, with their effort, and really just do an amazing job and treat every single client, not like, I always say treat them like your kids, but they're not kids, they're not children, but really come from that place of just really trying to almost like foster a really nice relationship and treat every client like they're the only reason. Like the way I try to look at it is every single one of my clients, I try to think if I couldn't advertise, if I couldn't post on social media, if I could only get business from this client's word of mouth, like how would you treat that client? How would you treat that person? And come from it from that place. Because if you come from it from that place and you genuinely want to help people, you don't have to sell. You don't have to, because you just want to help. And it's like, I want to help people get in shape. I want to help people do this. And I think if you come from that place, people see that. And people are really good at reading bullshit. And I think if you don't bullshit people, you tell people how it's going to work. You tell them what they're going to get. And you give it to them. You do a great job. I think it's really hard to fail. But I just think a lot of people don't do a great job. They don't put in the effort, they don't put in the work, they don't do that little extra bit, they don't text all their clients every single day. And I think when people have that in a coach, they respect that and they want to do a good job. And when me as a coach, I do a good job for people, I let other people know about the good job we're doing and the results people are getting. Other people see that and they say, hey, I want results too. And from there, you keep doing a good job, more people will want to be a part of something when you really lead from a place of just trying to be the best.
I love that piece of advice. I've actually, I actually had someone reach out to me not that long ago asking me kind of just like how I found success. I'm not going to say like I found success early, but how I kind of found success early, making so many sales. And I told him, I said, the sooner you quit worrying about the money and you start caring about, helping the customer or helping people around you, the sooner you will find that success. I mean, it's kind of like you said, I mean, a business is to make money, but at the end of the day, not only is it to make money, but it's also to help people, I mean, your clients, but also like people around you.
Yeah. Well, a business in itself, if you look at what a business is, a business solves a problem, right? Your iPhone solves a really big problem. If you didn't have an iPhone, think of what you'd have to do to get everything your iPhone can do, right? And I think your business solves a problem. If you're detailing cars, you help people save time. If I'm helping people get in shape, I'm helping them live longer, right? I'm helping people live 20 plus years longer, be around and play with their kids for the first time without getting out of breath in 25 years, right? I think a business solves a problem, and when you really approach that, what problem are you solving? And if you solve it really good, people are more than happy to exchange currency for that because it's important to them. And people, food, shelter, like apartments, like people spend money on things that do things for them. Food helps you not starve. An apartment place helps you not be out in the cold, right? Businesses solve problems for people, and that's what I love is that there's nothing wrong about a voluntary exchange between two people. You provide a service, you provide something, someone says, I want this. Here's currency that provides value for it, and both people are happy, right? Capitalism, both people walk away, shake their hands and say, thank you. And I think, when you think of it like that, you solve a problem for somebody. And if you solve it really, really good, more people with that same problem are going to want you to solve for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, kind of going off that, basically, people are paying for more time, You're a business owner and, you're getting, you got to talk to 10 clients a day. Then like you start growing and, now you have to start talking to, 20 clients a day. You're going to have to pay someone else to get more time on your hands. So it's just kind of going hand in hand. Basically, people pay for time. Everything is capped out. Like everybody has the same cap. We all have 24 hours in a day. So, it's just like, what do you do with your 24 hours and what are you willing to pay to get more of that time for yourself? All right, man, like what would you say like your biggest mistake starting your business was? Like,
yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily say, like, I try not to view it as a mistake because I think you're gonna make the mistakes eventually. So it's like, where can I learn the lessons? I think some of the biggest lessons I've learned from things that have, because I think when I get into it, it'll make more sense, but I try not to think of things as more of a mistake. Obviously there's things that go wrong, but some of the best lessons that I've learned over my time, at least in business, is the first thing is you got to be kind of all in, right? The way you approach things is a little bit different when there's not 10 different ways out. And I think it's the same thing with fitness and working with a coach, right? If you're signing up for somebody, you're like, I want a free trial or I want to go month to month, a coach isn't month to month with you, right? You're not a free trial with your fitness goals, right? You're either going to achieve your goals and you're going to commit to somebody. When I work with people, I say, hey, look, there's a reason I don't do month to month because I'm not month to month in with you. I want you to get to your goal and I'm going to guarantee to get there. And I guess for me, if we had to label it as a mistake, I would say, spending time listening to people who didn't really have the lifestyle that I wanted, who weren't doing the things that I wanted to do, being the people that I wanted to be, listening to those people, letting that mindset and that they're trying to, give to me, let that actually affect my life, right? Like when I moved back from college, I wanted to do my business, but when you have people who have never owned businesses or never done things that you want to do, telling you it might not work, I mean, there's always reasons not to do things. And I think I listened to those reasons of why I shouldn't do my business and I should do other things. And there was a brief period, right, where I was going to maybe go to law school instead of doing my business. And I think having these different avenues, maybe I'm going to do law school, maybe I'm going to do this thing, right? You're not focused on the main thing, right? So if you're going to do something, do it. Are you going to, play football? Play football, right? If you're going to get in shape, right? Whatever it is that you're going to do, don't try to cut it 10 different ways. You have 100%, right? You have 24 hours in a day. Then if you have 100% of your day, you're cutting it. You're not going to be 100% towards something. You only have so much time, and every time you add a priority, well, then you actually don't have any priorities because you're treating everything like a priority. So I would say, big lessons I've learned is if you're going to do something, do it, and then anything that's not what you need to do to accomplish X goal, remove it, right? If you're with a girlfriend and she's telling you, why don't you just do this or hang out with me, break up with her, leave her. No question, leave her, right? If you're around people who are not good for you, why are you hanging out with them, right? If you're prioritizing, drinking or whatever it is, if you know what you have to do, you got to just do it. There's no hack, there's no magic formula. And for me, if I had to look back and give myself advice, I would say, stop messing around, right? Like, are you going to do this or not going to do it? Because if you approach it with if it doesn't work, well, then you're never going to approach it with the same intensity that you're going to approach it with. It's like, this shit has to work. And I think at the start of this year, I really approached it with that mentality. And when you approach it with that mentality, you care more because every client, you're like, this has to work. They have to get great results. And I think if I had to look back and think of different mistakes, I would say, spending time with people who don't have the same mindset, right? Whether it's a girlfriend who, just doesn't understand it, whether it's, listening to your parents or other people who have never run a business about what you should do with your life, right? But again, I don't necessarily view it as like, I wish I never did. I don't look, at the time, I genuinely thought maybe it wasn't the best decision to run my business. But now, at the time, after I've learned that this is what I want to do, I'm grateful that I wasted time. I'm grateful that I was with someone that I ended up not being able to be with, right? I'm grateful for that because it allowed me to actually see clarity and now have the mental rigidity that I have now to understand what focus is and to really lock in and focus on doing what I want to do, which is help people be the best version of themselves through physical fitness.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like being kind of entrepreneurs and kind of public figures, especially at our age, it definitely paints a big red target on our back, kind of just like getting ridiculed. And I feel like a lot of people our age really just don't understand, kind of our mindset. And I feel like that's kind of big, like what you said about surrounding yourself with people that have that same mindset and that same drive that you do. Really just surrounding yourself with the right people, because you have one rotten apple, and that can definitely sink a ship. And so definitely surround yourself with the right people. And definitely, again, hitting off what you said, I mean, never really doubt yourself. I mean, like, I've had so many times in my young career where it was just like, okay, I had one bad customer review. Am I done? Word's going to go around, can't get a detail from this guy. He sucks. Yeah. So it's just like, definitely like believing in yourself. Definitely learning everything, soak every drip of knowledge you can get like a sponge, learn, reach out from other people that are more knowledgeable in the industry than you are, and just kind of, just take everything in. Riley, what would you say most young trainers get wrong?
I would say something that a lot of young trainers or people that are into fitness get wrong is thinking that their way is the best way, or trying to argue with people about their stance on fitness. Something I think a lot of clients really appreciate is that I don't really take the approach when it comes to fitness that there's one way that works best, right? If you think carnivore is the best and you tell everyone you can't eat seed oils and you have to eat red grass-fed ground beef, you're going to put a lot of people off. And you got to understand, there's people that are in shape that are vegans. There's people that are in shape that are carnivores. There's people that are in shape that do intermittent fasting, whatever it is. There's a lot of tools that you can put in your fitness tool belt. And I think coming with the mindset of how can I figure out what works for this person, but also coming with the mindset of it doesn't have to be this huge song and dance about discipline and accountability. What I found that works really well for what I do when I work with people is you have to figure out what are just a couple things that people have to do, right? If you want to lose weight and look amazing, you're going to have to not eat more calories than you burn, right? That's something they can't lose weight if you're eating more calories than you burn. You can't, it's impossible. If you want to look good, you're going to have some level of muscle mass. So we're going to have to do a little bit of resistance training. Well, eventually we have to burn calories and we need muscle mass. So what are the couple things we can do diet-wise? Well, we're going to have to probably control our calories. We're going to have to eat some protein, right? So it's like, what are the couple things? And you know, I try not to load people up with you have to do this, and when you go to the grocery store, look at the labels and get scared about all this stuff. I think something a lot of young trainers and fitness professionals do that puts a lot of people off is trying to scare everyone into this certain way or that certain way and tell people they have to do it a certain way. I think that there are a lot of threads that run through many different styles of diet and training and nutrition, and I think if you can learn and understand their principles behind why things work, you can help people understand what works for them. Because unless it's like all you do is carnivore stuff and you only work with people who want to do carnivore, like I have a guy in my program right now who signed up this week who his last coach made him do hard carnivore, no carbs, and he put on 40 pounds working with a coach. So, it's what you think is best might not be best. It's about trial and error. There is no one way. Every way can work if you actually stick to it. And the most important thing when you're working with clients is that they actually follow the program, right? It doesn't matter. You can have the best program ever. It can be, you can spend the next 365 days every single day working 16 hours just to make an amazing program. Give it to somebody. If they don't do it, it doesn't matter. It's all for nothing. So I try to start with something really simple, really easy. When a lot of people look at my program and they're like, this is it? Well, I'm like, okay, we're going to do it for the rest of our life. Like, if you're going to actually help someone make a change, you need to change their habits and their actions and their mentality, which is a lot harder than getting them riled up about your version and your take on fitness just for them to, in 2 weeks, not fucking do it and be mad at you and call you a bad trainer because you didn't start with their goals in mind. So that's something I always see is people thinking their way is the best way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of just like a lot of what you do really requires a lot of confidence and like a lot of sales knowledge and a lot of trial and error. So I guess like, what really motivates you and what really drives your confidence, and how did you kind of build all that?
Yeah, so I'll answer the first question, which is confidence. And I think even with sales, right, sales is a transfer of belief, right? You have to basically talk to somebody and say, hey, I do this thing. This is me, I do my coaching program, and when I talk to people, it's basically, hey, like I'm Coach Riley, like I have this program, in the next 6 months you'll lose 30, 50 pounds and 6 to 10 inches off your waist, or I'll keep coaching you for free until you do. And I think sales is basically just getting that person to really believe that I can do that, because a sales interaction is not about them getting the results. It's not about you trying to, manipulate somebody, right? Because manipulation is when you're when you're lying to somebody, right? And the way I try to approach things, if you genuinely believe in what you do, and I talk to somebody, I should be able to sit down, state the facts, and tell the truth. In 24 weeks, you're going to lose 1.5 pounds per week, and by the end, on average, you're going to lose about 40 pounds, so between 30 to 50 pounds. Every 5 pounds of fat, you're going to lose 1 inch off your waistline, so 30 to 50 pounds, 6 to 10 inches off your waistline. Like all the facts, all the numbers and the facts, like I state the facts and tell the truth. And if you sit down with somebody to maybe work with your business or whatever it is that you're doing, and if you stated the facts and tell the truth and told them exactly how it's going to work, and they don't sign up, it means your product sucks. And if you have to say something that's not reality for them to sign up, it means for you to have a good business, you have to lie to people. And I don't think anybody wants to be a liar and a bad person. So for me, when it comes to confidence, the best thing I can say for why I can speak with such conviction in what I do is because it's I do exactly what I say I do. It's exactly what I say it is. I get the results exactly how I tell you they're going to happen. And I set the expectations really hard. And I think when it comes to the conviction, the confidence, what motivation drives, I think I got a lot of that in football, right? When as a leader, as a team captain, as somebody who used to be an overweight, fat kid who had to play center because he couldn't play running back, who had to get in shape on his own in 3rd grade, waking up at 5 a.m. to do CD workouts that transitioned into me finding and seeking out a strength coach on my own because I wanted to be the best player, working with that coach, and everything, all my success, owing to my own ability to wake up every single morning and grind and work to be the best athlete I could be, going to be, at high school, becoming, team captain, running the weight room, doing all these things. I've had a lot of trial and error of getting people to basically, agree and do things and lead people. And I think, having so many reps, just leading people and just being a good leader with others has given me a lot of confidence because, at least in my own opinion, it's just like you have to have people's best interest in mind. If you're a team captain and you're saying do this and you don't do it yourself, nobody's going to listen to you. And I think as a leader, as somebody, everyone in my program knows I follow exactly what I tell them they should be doing. I do it, I live it, I speak it, and everyone that knows me knows when I sit on the camera and I say this about fitness or that about fitness, I'm not bullshitting people. I'm not lying to people. I'm not telling people something that's not true. I'm not telling you need to buy these supplements, and even though I don't actually take them and believe in them myself, I come from a place of genuine wanting to help and serve because I want people to be in shape, right? When I talk to somebody about maybe joining my program, I'm like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if we don't work together? Because I want you to be in shape regardless, right? And I actually want people to be in shape because I don't want people to die 20 years early. When I look at 70% of this population is overweight and 45% are obese, the number one killer in America is not old age, it's heart attack because people are obese. And that's an issue. And I want people to live longer. And everyone wants to talk about, fixing the world. You can first-handedly, make an impact in the world by just being around longer. You know what I mean? You can't make an impact if you're living 20 years less. And I think I really want people to just be in shape because I understand what you can get, and I've seen it firsthand. When I have, people who come to me and they're depressed and they don't really like who they are, and 6 months from that, they love who they are. And I think my confidence and my ability to speak with conviction comes from a place of caring. Because I don't think, if you have no belief in what you do, there's nothing to transfer. You can't get people fired up and you can't get people excited about something you don't give a shit about. So I think a lot of it just comes from at the deepest, layer of what I do is someone who genuinely wants people to be in shape and succeed. And I just try to always lead with that.
That is a great point. I mean, really just being confident in what you're selling. I mean, if you're a business owner, you have to be confident in what you're selling. Once again, like kind of capping off what you said, I mean, you can't be lying to people. Like you genuinely have to believe in your product or, in your services. And so like I've never heard of someone that had a good deal that wasn't successful. Nobody that has like a great deal isn't selling. So it's just like, if you're walking them through, losing all this weight, it's like a genuinely good deal, which I mean, clearly it is, if you're getting all these people and, I'm charging X amount for a detail, that's a good deal. So it's just like believing in yourself. I really like, sports growing up. I feel like that's a big confidence booster and like a big, disciplinary action. So I mean, it's awesome.
Well, and too, I think sports teaches people, especially around here, especially now with social media, you got the bar stools, you got people talking about you online before the game, they're tweeting at you, people talking crap. I think that's really good. A lot of people think, oh, I wish social media. I think it's really good for people, especially athletes, to get made fun of, by other people because it's life, right? In business, if you're going to start a business, you're going to have people laughing at you. You're going to go to Thanksgiving and people are, how's your business? Like, it's going to happen. And I think if you, play sports, like you have to deal with that. You have to deal with being embarrassed by failing. You have to deal with coaches calling you out, cussing you out. You play college football, you're going to get mother effed in front of 100 people that you want to look cool in front of. So you got to have some thick skin, and I think sports are great, and they've been a lot for me because I've got really thick skin because I've had the bar stools tweeting around me, and I've been used to people, making fun of you, right? Which is okay. It's just completely okay because it's just a thing of like people are going to make fun and joke, and that's fine. And when I started my business, I didn't feel insecure about it because I'm like, I'm used to this already because, you play sports, and if you want to be known, then it's just everyone that knows you, you're going to have someone that likes you and someone that doesn't. And if you actually have opinions about anything and you want to stick with them, then you're going to have people who don't agree with those opinions. So you're going to have to just deal with it.
100%. I mean, like, no matter what you do, if you're starting your own business, if you're going into nursing, if you're going to be, a painter, or like anything, I mean, people are going to, people aren't going to agree with you all the time. So I mean, having thick skin is super important.
Yeah.
And like kind of going back on kind of what I said earlier about like, you know, how we're doing this so young and how like we're representing ourselves and
Yep.
kind of like putting ourselves out there.
Yep.
It really does like put a, you know, target on our back, you know, with like people around us, you know, that are out drinking, that are out partying, hooking up, you know, every single chance they get.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of find, you know, it's really cool to like see another person, you know, around my age that like has like, you know, they're, you know, knows what they're going to do with the rest of their life,
Yeah.
you know? So, I mean, I think that's super important, just like kind of living for yourself, not living for the way others see you, how others perceive you, to be that helpful person, that person that people look up to. So what habits are non-negotiable for you, and then what do you do to help motivate yourself on days where you're feeling lazy and, you know, you just want to like bed rot? What helps you motivate on those days?
Yeah, so I actually had a couple of those, and I think a huge thing that I do to consistently work very, very hard is I don't do things that aren't work, right? I think a lot of people want to be very successful, but day to day, success is not very glamorous, right? And you think of football success. When we think of success in football, you think of winning the Super Bowl. That's glamorous. You're holding up a trophy, woo, woo, woo. But in reality, the success that those athletes have is in the film room, right? They're sitting there watching film. It's Tuesday, it's 2 p.m. They don't want to be at film, but they're watching film, right? They're in the weight room. Probably don't want to work out. They're probably tired, but they're in the weight room, right? They're at practice, running plays over and over and over and over and over again. That way on game day, it just is a verification of what they already are, which is knowing exactly what they need to do, right? Game day is just to show up and do the shit you already done. So I think my answer for how do you motivate yourself is I think I just understand what I want, and anything that doesn't add to that, I don't do, right? An example of the days where you don't want to do anything, I think if you have a lot of those days where you don't want to do anything, you should be asking yourself, what's making you so tired that you're waking up and you don't have any energy, right? Is it your fitness? Is it your diet? Is it your sleep quality? I mean, like why, you know, because I think if you genuinely have nothing to do in life, right? For me, for example, I don't do much other than work and help people get in shape, right? So I'm doing a podcast, right? After this, I'm gonna go work out, and then I'm gonna go to bed, get 8 to 10 hours of sleep, go to bed, I'm not gonna be scrolling on my phone, I'm gonna wake up refreshed, energized, and then I'm gonna spend that whole day working. So I think for me, how do I stay motivated is I really, really guard my environment and my mental space. I'm not going to go see 10 different people. People ask me, I want to hang out. I'll just say no, I don't want to hang out with you because I have other better things to do and I have goals to work to. So I think for me, I don't necessarily, every morning I'm not like, woo, woo, like I don't have some song and dance. I really, to be honest with you, you know, I wake up, I'll come down, I'll have a cup of coffee. I'll literally just sit right down at the computer. I'll start working. I'll just do that until I can't possibly do anything else. And then at that point, you know, I'll hit the gym. I treat the gym as work for me because if I was sitting here fat, you wouldn't want to work with me as a coach. So I treat that as work. And then, you know, I know on those days where I'm really gassing it, you know, I'll chill. You know, I'll chill sometimes, but chill to me isn't go out and party, right? Because you're not going to be refreshed, right? Like, you know, I had a couple days this week where I was really, really struggling, so I stopped lifting as much, right? But give myself some time to rest, you know, go take a day and chill, right? But because if you can sit and chill and wake up the next day and you're ready to crush 12-hour days, then that is productive, right? I try to every day get some work done, but you know, if there's days where you know you're super gassed out or you're burnt out, I'll take some time and rest because I know I'm going to come back stronger. But yeah, I just know exactly what I want, and I remove things from my life that aren't what I want. And if you have nothing to do but work, then you're probably going to be more likely to work. And even as an athlete, like, you know, I was even at you know, going to Central, winning state championships, and always being really good at football. I was never partying. I mean, I'm not drinking. I'm not, you know what I mean? And it was actually a mindset flip that I had when I went to Mercyhurst, is because going from a school of Wheeling Central, it's just all you do is win. Every year the standard is we are winning the state title. We are being the best. You know, if you don't win the state title, you're a failure. And then I go to Mercyhurst, and even though we were playing in the PSAC, one of the best conferences, you know, our record was 2-8. And I remember we lost a game, and they were throwing a 100-person rager party, and I'm like, what? Like, you guys are partying? In high school, we never party. because we couldn't drink and we were not old enough, right? But no, we never partied because it was like, no, our standard is just not that. And when I go to Mercyhurst and we lost, and then guys are boozing, it's like win or lose, we booze. That's, to me, I don't get that. Or even today, I don't drink. I'm not smoking weed. I'm not, spending all day texting girls. Obviously, I'm a human, right? Obviously, there's days where I don't want to do things, but I try to really curate my environment in a way that makes, doing what I need to do frictionless. And it's the same thing with fitness, right? If you have to not eat carbs and you have to say no to carbs, I think that adds friction to your diet. If you have to do a 40-minute warm-up before you work out and you have some huge routine, I think that adds friction to doing the things you need to do, which is work out or work or whatever it is. And I try to really just make things really frictionless for me. So, an example of something that I do that makes things frictionless is I have, a nice place that I enjoy working at. And to me, I don't have a lot of friction around work. I have a place I enjoy. I'm not doing all kinds of random stuff each day. I wake up and I work, and if it ain't work, I'm probably not interested in doing it. So I think the answer is something a lot of people know is just do the shit you got to do, and figure out what's stopping you from doing the core actions, right? If you want to get in shape, what's stopping you from going to the gym? Why aren't you going to the gym? Okay, well, how can you make it more likely you're going to work out then? Maybe you're going to work out from home. Maybe you're going to do body weight. Why are you not eating food you probably know you should eat? Why are you not ordering chicken breast and salad? Because X, Y, Z. Okay, well, how can you make yourself do that? If you're not getting the results you want in your business, well, what's the things you have to do to get the results you want? Okay, I have to do this, this, and this. Why aren't you doing that, right? And I think people know what they need to do. People just don't do shit. I really think people, and because here's the thing, if people are not successful, nobody just lays around all day. People are doing other shit that ain't the things they need to do. So if you're partying, like if you're prioritizing partying over success. So ask yourself, why are you doing that? Because I think if you genuinely have nothing to do but the actions that are required for you to achieve the goals you want to achieve, I think you'll be successful. But people are doing other shit. We have 24 hours in a day. Elon Musk is worth almost $1 trillion. He went from 0 to $1 trillion in the same timeline that people don't do shit. So, he's got 24 hours in a day just like you, and he became a trillionaire. So he's doing different shit than you, right? If you have somebody that's in shape and you are not in shape, same 24 hours, they're doing different shit than you. They're doing things that help them get in shape when you're doing things that don't help you get in shape. So I think the very short answer was just like figure out why you're not doing the things you know you should do. And if you don't know what to do, it doesn't take that long to figure out what to do. You can chat GPT it. What are the core actions I must take to achieve X? It'll tell you. And a lot of times, especially for me as a coach, the people that I work with, they might know 50, 60% of what to do, but having a coach removes the friction, right? I make you a program custom built for you around your schedule and your life, and I'll hold you accountable to it. I'll make sure that you're doing things. I'll make it as easy as possible, and then I'll also add a layer of me making sure that you're doing it. And I think, a very big, lesson, habit, hack, success hack is really just, if it ain't your goals, remove it, right? And then if you're unwilling to remove it, that's fine. But you're just choosing that over your goals. And which is fine, right? If you don't want to really achieve it that bad, that's fine. But don't expect to get results from work you're not doing.
I mean, yeah, everybody thinks it's a highlight reel. Everybody wants to, envision themselves, successful, and I got this car, I got the women, I got the money, and it's just like, they don't want to do what it takes to be successful. They don't want to cut out the things that are stopping them from being successful, and that's what really stops them. I mean, kind of like what you said about Elon Musk. And, the 24 hours thing, it's just like, if you're sitting on your ass, eating potato chips on the couch, there's someone out there out working you. There's someone, making flyers. There's someone going door to door. There's someone, making a sales call. Yeah. So it's just like, what are you doing with your day? And how are you going to help your future self succeed? Yeah. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. I was thinking about this the other day because 10 years ago, I was 11 years old. So 10 years after already, of doing the same thing, I think it's, especially as someone who's young, it's like really crazy for me to think about in 10 years. Because 10 years ago, I was not even a teenager. I wasn't even hit puberty yet. So where I've been just in 1 year, times 10, I think I try to really honestly take it day by day. Because honestly, I'm not, every day I'm not thinking of my 10-year vision, my vision board. I think for me, at least right now, 10 years, I don't even know. Maybe I'll get hit by a bus. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know. Maybe I won't be here. But I try to really just take it day by day. I mean, I think in 10 years, I want to be one of the best fitness coaches in the space. I don't think that I'm not going to be in fitness. Like, I think I'm in fitness right now, and I think I'm in fitness until I've become the best, you know? And I think there's a lot of guys in the fitness space right now who I think I could be better than. And it's up to me to just keep being the best. And until I've become probably number one in the online coaching space, I'm going to be here because I think there's work to be done. I think there's clients out there who deserve a really good coach, and I think it would be disingenuous of me to let them work with somebody else when they could get better results with me. So I think for me each day, what I'm really focused on in terms of future plans is really just doing a great job. For the clients that I have right now, I want to get them great results, and I want them to all tell their friends, and I want those friends to come and get great results and tell them friends, and I want to make a really big ripple in the issue that's facing our country, which is people are overweight, people are unhealthy, and they're obese. And there's a lot of people out there who could really fix their life if they really had somebody to believe in them. And for me, I want to be that person for as many people as I can and really, really build a business and a brand and a place where people know they can go, get in shape, and actually fix this for them long term, right? Everyone that works with me is going to be in shape for the rest of their life. And I want to have as many of those people as I possibly can, and I want to build a business that, again, solves that problem for people in a really, really special way and leaves people really, really happy with the choice they made to decide to invest in themselves and get a coach to help them be their best self. So for me, where I see myself in 10 years is I really see myself being number one in fitness. I really see myself being the best fitness coach there is, and really just, you know, leading and trying to just really make a ripple. And I want people to get in shape. And where I want to see myself is I want to be able to see myself in an auditorium, in a stadium of people whose lives that I've touched by, you know, getting in shape. And I think that's, you know, I really don't know where I see myself in 10 years. I think next year what I want to do is my goal would probably be 100 people that I want to impact. And again, it's going to grow from there. So I want to keep making content, keep reaching out to people and seeing how many people I can help, and every day wake up and just do it, you know?
For sure, yeah. I mean, if you had a time machine right now,
Yes.
you walk in the time machine, you go back to Riley Watkins day one. He's thinking about doing it. What advice are you going to give him?
Well, I thought you were going to say what would you tell him to do? To be honest with you, if I had to go back and tell myself or change something, I wouldn't change a thing. No. I wouldn't tell myself to do anything different because everything that I did led me to where I am right now, and I'm 100% happy with where I'm at. Yeah. I've done everything I could possibly do. Everything that I've done that I would tell myself, oh, don't do that, I might have learned that lesson in a worse way down the road. And I would have had to learn that 20 years from now, and it would have cost me more in terms of time and mental stress. So I would not tell myself to do anything different because I'm ecstatic. Everything that I've done is I'm happy. I wouldn't say it's perfect, or you can always improve, but I'm happy. I'm very, very happy, and I'm exactly who I want to be. So I wouldn't change anything. If I had to look back at myself and maybe give myself advice, like I would say, you know, don't take advice from people, right? If I had to learn those lessons sooner, if I wanted to learn those lessons sooner, what I would tell myself is don't take it. Like if you look at X person telling you to do this, if they weren't your relative, if they weren't your friend, if they weren't your girlfriend, would you just take that person's advice? Like if you didn't know that person, would you listen to them and take their advice? Probably not. And I'm sure that your parents or whatever it is, or whoever it is, telling you to do that has your best interest in mind. I'm sure people that are trying to tell you to do things, they want you to be successful. But I think it's important to really know what you want and really, really try to look at it from an objective lens of, does this person have the life that I want? Is this person who I want to be? Is this person, right, telling me I need to eat keto? Does this person have the body I want? Well, why are you taking their advice then? So I think I would tell myself to don't take advice from people you don't want to be like, to probably be a little bit more understanding. You know, if people, I think, you know, early in my fitness career, I was not as understanding of other viewpoints. I'm like, why don't you just get in shape, right? And I think after gaining some weight on my own and having that experience of hating how I look and having that experience of feeling unconfident in the shirts that I had and not wanting to be in photos and really being in the shoes of the men that I work with, I think it helped me understand that there are a lot of different perspectives. There's a lot of different ways you can approach it, and fitness is more of a game of adherence. It's more of a game, it's more of a mental game than it is actually a physical game, because if all you needed was to know what to do, you go out and ChatGPT right now and it'd make you up a plan and you do it. and you be in shape. But the reason people work with me is because you're not doing it. So I think what I would tell myself is you need to set up your environment in a way that makes doing the things you need to do easier, right? When I would tell myself who was overweight, I would say you need to stop spending time with people who are not helping you with your fitness goals, or telling you I want to go out to eat, I want to go here, or at the place you're living, there's all these snacks and stuff that are easy to eat, right? Your willpower is not infinite, so if you can set up your environment in a way that makes it more likely you're going to work or eat the food you need to eat or go to the gym, right? Do that. So the lessons I would tell myself is make sure your environment serves your goals, and anybody that is in that immediate environment better be helping you serve their goals, or else you should probably remove those people, as painful as it might be. If you genuinely had to look at this person and say, from an objective lens, does this person in my life make it more likely I will achieve my goals? If you can't answer that with an instant yes, take them out, and it might be uncomfortable, and the people you want to remove from your life are the people it's a no-brainer, but the people that you need to remove from your life, or it's hard, are the people that you like, are the people that want your best interests at heart, but deep down that they're not going to make it more likely you hit your goals. So it's a hard conversation you might need to have, but your environment needs to serve your goals, and you need to be ruthless with that.
I guess my next question would kind of be, if there's like a struggling business owner, let's say they're not a fitness coach.
Yep.
If there's just like a struggling business owner out there, what piece of advice would you give them to kind of get them off their feet out of this slump?
Yeah, when you say slump, what do you mean? Like,
I guess like let's say they're struggling. They rushed into it. They didn't do their research on this business. They just jumped right in. And now, they're just getting tidal wave after tidal wave. Month by month, they're losing money. They're not making money. What piece of advice would you give them to kind of get them started?
Yeah. So maybe what I would tell that person is like, why'd you start a business where you're losing money? So it's like I think the first thing I would look at that and be like, well, your business, if your goal of a business is to make an income and a profit, then I think the best business you should have is something where if you're not working, then you're just not making money, right? Obviously, if you have like rent and expenses, if you're not making sales, you're not going to make money because you're paying for things. But the idea of the things you do pay for is they should help you, with your business. They should help people know about your business. So I think the advice I would give to a struggling person who's not maybe making the money they want, or they're struggling with having a good business, is I would say, start with something where it's like, all you have to do is just get somebody to say yes. So like a service, whether you're a car detail or whether it's fitness coaching. I think I started fitness coaching is because I had a lot of knowledge and I could help pass that knowledge along, right? For me to get somebody to work with me as a fitness coach, it's less about, if I want to start an airplane company, I'm probably going to be really hard, right? If you're a younger guy, you're probably not going to start a Boeing company. You're not going to compete with Boeing. You're not going to start a car dealership and get 100 cars on the lot. Like, it probably should be something as simple as like, hey, I go up to somebody, hey, I'll detail your car. It's this much, all right? Well, whatever they pay you, go get the shit you need to do to clean the cars, right? It can be really easy and really simple. And I think, especially people who think about business, you're going to have to be a lot more entrepreneurial than you might think you are, right? Like, you might have to figure it out. You really do have to figure it out. I think it's the best thing and the worst thing about it is because you do have to figure it out, right? It's on you, but also it's on you, right? You get to do that. You get to say, I did this. I can do it my way, how I want to be, but also you can't ever turn it off, right? You never turn it off. Sometimes I envy, doctors, because if you're a doctor, you make $500 an hour. You go, you pull up to the hospital, you do your stuff, you make, whatever it is, you work 8 hours, you make $4 or $5 grand in a day, and you leave, and you go home, and you turn TV on, and it works out of your brain. But if you're an entrepreneur, you always have things to do. There's always work to be done. Every second you're not working, you're wasting your time. So advice I would give to people who are thinking about getting into it is really decide. Like, if you're not going to commit your life to it, don't do that shit. Don't half-ass it, because the people trusting you with their money and their time for you to do the thing you said you were going to do, unfair to them, right? It's unfair to your future clients who are going to trust you with their time, their money, that they worked for that. If there's somebody that's not a bit like it doesn't come from the sky, right? And if somebody's going to trade that for a problem to be solved, you better solve that problem. You better be prepared to go the extra mile to solve that problem at a deep level, or else you know what you're going to be? You're just going to be like everyone else who's average as hell. And unless you want to be average as hell and just be somebody who sucks, and when people ask about your business, they say, probably wouldn't go back. Like, who wants to be that person? So if you're going to do it, and stop Don't say you're going to do it and ask 10 people just to validate you. Like, do it or don't, right? And live with the decision, and don't half-ass anything, because I think there's nothing that's ever come from somebody half in, half out. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of my biggest lessons kind of whenever I started my business was really just not doing enough research, not being prepared. Whenever I decided to start car detailing, I decided that off of a TikTok I saw at like 11 o'clock at night.
Funny.
Yes, the next day I went to Walmart, I spent $100 on equipment.
Nice.
And then I started going door to door with some of my friends.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if I would have took, a week, 2 weeks to really just like get knowledgeable,
Yeah.
a lot of my first details would have been a lot better. I mean, I see pictures, I see videos of like a few of my first details, and I mean, like, they are garbage compared to like what I'm giving out now. And it's just like, I'd say really a lot of research, and once again, just like being able to take knowledge in, learning from people that are more knowledgeable than you and not being stubborn about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you said about like, your way's not the highway all the time. It's just like, there are people out there that know more than you do, and it's important to be able to learn from them. I actually reached out to a detailing company in Philadelphia, and I was about probably 6 months into detailing.
Yeah.
I gave them a cold phone call. I was like, hey, my name is Mickey Guerra. I'm a student at West Liberty University. I have my own detailing business, and I think you guys could help me really learn and really gain experience. Yes, and so that they were more than happy to help me. And
people are like, there's nobody that's successful. If you go up to the biggest guy in the gym and you ask him how to do a workout, he's never going to look at you and say, what? They're going to be the nicest people ever, because people like people who help themselves. And that's why with my clients, if I have somebody who is really trying, I'm going to extend that. Like, I have that guarantee in place, right? Where if you work with me in the 6 months, if you don't get the result, I'm going to work with you for free until you do. And sometimes there's people who sign up and they're not doing the things I'm asking them to do. And it makes me so much less likely and so much less motivated to want to go the extra mile for people who are not trying, right? It's a two-way street. And I think that from at least from what you're saying, right, if you're motivated to help yourself, it is very unlikely somebody will not reciprocate that need, because they understand they've been where you've been. So.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I'm really thankful for those guys.
Yeah.
Shout out those guys. 'Cause I mean, like, I would say like they took me from let's say a level 5 detailer. I mean, I learned so many things from them. I might have gone up from like level 5 to level 10.
Yeah.
So I mean,
nice.
they taught me ceramics. A lot about just like different types of waxes. So I mean, I'm super grateful for those guys, and like I'm so thankful that I had enough courage and I had enough belief in myself to go ahead and make that phone call. So really, just research and being able to put your pride aside and just learn from other people that are more knowledgeable than you.
Completely.
Yeah, for sure. So going into my last question, how has your faith kind of transformed your life and kind of transformed your business?
Yeah, so I was never religious when I was growing up. So I was never in a family who prioritized spirituality and God. And actually, one of the best decisions in my life was me going to Wheeling Central, was Catholic school, right? And when I went to Wheeling Central, it was the first time I ever really learned about Jesus, right? When I was younger, in preschool, when I was like, obviously you learn a little bit about it, kind of here and there, but nothing deep, right? And when I went to Central, we had religion class. It was actually my favorite class, and going to Wheeling Central was, I think it was probably the best decision of my life to date, because it made the most impact. Like, I can't imagine where my life would be if I didn't go to Wheeling Central, meet the people, learn the lessons, and have the experiences I have. And when I went to Wheeling Central, we were in religion class, and I was always asking questions. I was like asking questions, doing my own research, and learning more and more about God and Jesus and religion. My faith began to grow deeper and deeper. And up until my junior year, I decided, after just asking so many questions, I'm like, dude, this guy's got an answer for everything. It makes sense. I'm like, you know what? Like, I believe, right? I really believe. And after praying a lot and just feeling like God was speaking to me, junior year, I decided I wanted to get baptized, and I did it. I had a coach. Kevin Barlow, he was an all-pro running back for the 49ers. He was a coach for my 7-on-7 football team, and I remember talk with him a ton, and he was, somebody was telling me, like, I had everything that I wanted in my life, and I didn't have, my own peace of mind and happiness. And until I found Jesus, I didn't have that, right? And he found Jesus, and changed his life. And I remember he was telling me, we were talking, and I decided I want to get baptized. And he was like, and I just went, and my my sister's husband was a pastor at the time, and I was like, dude, will you baptize me? Okay, we set the date. You know, I'm an action taker. I was like, all right, this weekend, let's go. And I just went. It was me, you know, the pastor that baptized me, and I did it over in Martins Ferry with Justin Hill of First Christian Church in Ferry, and they had a baptism thing, and I went. And my sister's husband just baptized me, and Kevin Barlow, the all-pro guy who was a big piece of my faith. It was during football season. He came down. It was my immediate family, and
that's awesome.
You know, I went. I committed my life to Jesus Christ and to being a servant and somebody who is a man of faith. And in terms of how it impacted my life, if anybody that's been baptized that wasn't baptized as a baby, they understand what I'm saying. Is like when I got baptized, I don't know how to describe. I guess because in reality, like I guess you have no sin, right? You have no sin. All your sins are washed away. And I felt so clean, right? Maybe for people that aren't believers, maybe if you're gonna think, oh, he's just lying. Well, maybe it was just because of that. It was symbolic, and maybe my brain told me. But I really felt super clean after that. I felt like I just felt this. I don't even know how to describe it. And a lot of people say, oh, it's the Holy Spirit inside you. But I just felt such like a love and compassion, and I was just like, well, it sounds crazy. I was like, I don't care if I die, because I know I'm going to go into heaven. Like, I don't know, because I'm like, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and if my life ended today, like, I'm so excited to meet God. And I think carrying that mentality through sports and through my business, I really try to lead from a place of serving. And when you read the Bible, it says, like, be humble. It comes from a place of serving. And I think that is something that I do have, not as an advantage over other coaches, but I think that's something in terms of a difference that I can have, is I really try to lead from a place of like wanting to be, you know, an image of Christ, and really, really try to lead from a place of like, I want to help this person, I want to serve this person, like I'm a man of faith, and go into the Bible and try to apply those, you know, rules to your business and to your life. You know, every morning, try to be the best I can be. Of course, I'm not perfect. Of course, I'm not some amazing, you know, model Christian. Of course, there's days where I mess up. Of course, there's things that I do that I wouldn't want people to see. But I think understanding that we're all human, and I'm just trying to be the best person I can be, and try to just be somebody who, when people look at it, they can see that's somebody who they're a Christian, and the way that guy lives, I want to be like that guy. And I think coming to, you know, approaching your life and approaching everything you do with a certain vigor, you know, and only having certain things that you do, right? Because the idea of actually being 100% is there's not many things you can actually do 100%, right? So in my life, fitness is my life. So it's like anything that ain't my fitness business, I'm not doing, because that's what I want to do. And you know, I try to really have a religion as a backbone, and what I do is try to pray, you know, make sure that I read the Bible, go to church on Sundays, and really I think it's been huge for me to be in the right mental space, because I think when you're thinking about yourself all the time, oh, me, this, that, it's really easy to not be satisfied, but when the only person that you have to satisfy is God, it's a lot easier for you to not care about what other people think. I think it's a lot easier for you to understand my material possessions are going to leave me at one point. But if I'm worried about me and impressing this person and that person, well, then there's no end to that. There's no end to buying shit to impress people. There's no end to, you know, debauchery with girls and trying to just chase women. There's no end to that. It never ends. That's why people, drugs, there's no end to that. But I think there is an end to being, you know, grateful. You can just be grateful for what you have. I'm not saying you can't go out there and want to just chase and get as much as you possibly can and work every single day to get more, but I think there's a lot of peace inside, just like I am trying to please God. There's nothing wrong in my life. I'm grateful for what I have, and like every day I just want to try to be, you know, a genuine person who cares for people and wants to help people and serve people. And I think when you come from that light, there is no ickiness when it comes to sales or business, because I'm like, I want to help this person. And if I saw this person out on the street and they said what's up to me, there would be no weirdness because they didn't become a client. It would just be like, no matter what, whether this person works with me, whether this person is in shape or not in shape, like I love this person and I want this person to be their best self. And if they choose for me to help them do that, well then great. But either way, I love this person. I want to come from a place of like, I'm Riley, the fitness coach, you know, a Christian who genuinely wants people to just be their best self. And I offer a way and a method for people to help be their best self through fitness coaching, right? And that's what I do.
I love that, yeah. So my story kind of on how I got baptized.
Yeah.
I guess like really growing up, my parents really didn't force it on me. They kind of wanted me to figure it out for
Yeah,
myself.
I like that.
So I started going to church from an invite from one of my teachers about junior year,
Okay.
and started going around October, and then around April I made kind of like a decision. I talked to the pastor and his wife, and they, I had a really dark time at that time. And
Yeah.
they really kind of talked me through that, and they were like, "Why don't you get baptized?"
Yeah.
And like I definitely see like where you're coming from about like whenever you come back up.
Yeah.
I remember coming up from the water so clean and so pure, and just like being able to know that obviously like I'm not going out every day. I'm not.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm sinning.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like knowing that Jesus Christ died for our sins,
Yeah.
and that He loves you no matter like how many times you disobey Him, you stab Him in the back, He's there for you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's super. That takes so much pressure off of your back. It's just like, once again, like you said, you're not living for anybody else besides yourself and Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel if you could stop watching porn, if you could stop, really caring what other people think, if you could live for yourself, most importantly, live for Jesus Christ, you will find success.
Yep.
Stop worrying about, your money. Stop worrying about, what people are saying behind you, behind your back. Start worrying about what you can do to earn an eternal salvation. And
Yeah, I
so,
like that.
so I think that's really important as a business owner. Care about, your customers, care about, your self-image, but most importantly, care about your faith. And
Yeah.
so, Riley, I really love your story. I mean,
Yeah, I
like
appreciate it,
you,
man. Yeah.
you are such like a hard worker. Like I said, I mean, this guy really practices what he preaches. If you haven't, learned already. So I mean, man,
Dude, I appreciate it.
yes, sir. I
Yeah,
really appreciate
yeah.
you